How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, there's a couple of more questions that I'm going to answer that are on the Q&A part 2. I wrote down a list of questions for Frenchie, and I was going to ask him after we'd done security at the funeral and with the procession and the church and the wake. I was going to go for a pint and going to do the Q&A there. Because of the time, because how long the day was, you've got to remember, guys, Frenchie was up at like 5 o'clock on the train at 6. Gets into Manchester, and then it was a long day, and it was raining, it was cold, and we was tired, so I didn't end up doing the Q&A. So what I'm going to do, the questions that I've asked Frenchie, bar a couple of them that are not relevant, because like I said, I'm going to ask to myself, and whether you guys want to listen to it or not, it's up to you guys, but like I say, there's no pressure. Right, guys, so the question from Aaron Rowe from AJ was, why won't I watch horror films? Now, what it was as a kid growing up, right, I watched a zombie film, and it really fucking messed with my head, right? I was only a kid. I used to be scared of the dark and everything, right? And what I actually did, I fell asleep after watching this film, and I actually woke up and I'd scratched my own face, like proper, like drew blood, scratched my own face that bad, in like a nightmare thing, right? And ran into my mum's room. And I've never watched a horror film. The only horror film I've watched after that, it's not even a horror film, was the Blair Witch Project. And you didn't see anything, but it scared the life out of me. So I don't watch horror films. I'm scared of spiders, and I don't like horror films. Apart from that, according to a psychiatrist, I've got a predisposition to nervousness. It's like fearful situations, but spiders and horror films. Spiders, I just kill them. Like I wouldn't hold one, but I'd smash the life out of it. And yeah, I just won't watch horror films. AJ Rowe asks, what are you frightened of? Right, so I've just covered that anyway there, so we'll move on from that. Vero Plorian asks, are you still tempted by others who are still at it to help them? She's talking about people that are still in the active, in the criminal underworld and stuff like that. Am I tempted? The money's tempting, absolutely. The money is addictive and it's super tempting. However, when I left prison on my last stretch, I made a promise to my mother that I wouldn't go back. Vera Plorian goes on to ask, why did you get into the criminal life? Why did I get into the criminal life? Because what happened was growing up, as I wasn't like, my mum thinks I had ADHD before ADHD was even like a thing. And what it was like, I used to watch my mum struggling, working. My mum wasn't academic in school, yeah, man. And she was working like minimum wage jobs, yeah. And she was struggling to put food on the table, right? And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, hang on, I'm not being good at school. I'm not academic. I'm not going to be academic, right? And I used to watch my mum struggling to put the food on the table, yeah. And I used to think, you know what, right? I want better for myself, right? There's nothing wrong with working for minimum wage. I've worked for minimum wage. I've also earned money when I was like criminally active and stuff. And what it was, I didn't want to struggle like my mother was struggling. And I wanted better for me and I wanted better for my family. So I took the shortcut. I wasn't academic in school. I continued the route I was going down. And like I said, I didn't want to struggle. And I saw minimum wage as a struggle. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with minimum wage. But I took the shortcut and became involved with the drug trade and racketeering and protection rackets and making money every which way I could. There was nothing I wouldn't have done for money. Nothing. And I mean nothing. Money was like the first goal and the end goal. But then when I had money, I saw it as coloured bits of paper. I was like, I've never had nothing in my life. So my joy and my pleasure, right? I spent money on myself, like in dribs and drabs, but I got much greater, like when you've never had nothing, you can't really miss something because you've got it. You just like, never had it. But then you've got it and it's like, yeah, but it doesn't bring you happiness. So what I used to do, my enjoyment used to come from spending money on other people. And that's where that came from. So I was criminally active. I remember one time my mum was like, she needed like, she'd done a back-in at work, right? And she couldn't work. And she was only on statutory sick pay, right? And she had bills to pay and car tax and insurance and petrol and food, gas, electric, water, council tax, TV license, and it swamped her, right? And she suffers really bad anxiety, my mum, God bless her, right? And she was like, my sister texts me from my mum's phone saying, could you lend mum some money? And I was like, lend? I was like, you don't have to lend nothing, like, I'll give it you. So what I ended up doing, right, was I didn't reply to the text message. I saw my mum the following day, and she took me, I had legal money that was in the bank, and I had illegal money. But she took me to the cash thing, like I went to this bank, said, oh, just be a minute. I've gone in, I've taken like £1,000 out for her. I think it's just 1,100, 1,200, I can't remember. It was over £1,000 anyway, a bag of sand, 200 to 1,200 quid. I took it out and I had it in an envelope, right? And then we pulled up and I passed her like an envelope. And she said, oh, I didn't want to ask. And I said, listen, don't be stupid. You raised me. You know what I mean? We've been through a lot together, right? Take the money. You don't have to, it's not a lend, it's not a borrow. Take the money, keep the money. Don't want to hear about the money. And she was like, oh, and she went to the bank and she paid bills and stuff like that. And it was nice to be able to do that for my mum because, like I say, she was working all the hours God sends and I wasn't. I took the shortcut. And it was nice to be able, and that was like one time of many times where I've helped my mum out. My mum, when I was in prison, my mum also helped me. And then when I came out of prison, right, I transferred, I give my mum like, just short of £1,000. I was like, we sat there, I took her out for a meal, and I did a bank transfer, and I said, check your bank, and she checked her bank, and she started snapping at me because I'd give her money again. I was like, you can't put a price on what you've done for me whilst I was in prison, so take it, please. So that was that, guys. Yeah, man. And then, like I say, the reason that I left crime, Vera Florian, was because I made a promise to my mother. I saw my effect my criminality was having on my mother, psychologically, emotionally, and not to mention financially. And I did the right thing, and I came away. And it's lonesome. I'm skint. I'm on my arse, and it's boring. And I've gone from living my life a million miles an hour to a snail's pace, but I'm away from it. So anyway, these are some of the questions I was going to ask Frenchie, guys. Anyway. So what is the biggest regret of your life today? Biggest regret in my life today, honestly, is when I was at school, I wish I would have got an education behind me. I wish I would have gone on to further education and been nourished and nurtured and shown there is another way than crime. So I'd have embraced education, further education, and would have gone on to university. I would have loved to have done that. But like I said, you can't change what has been and gone. I've lived a crazy life and I'm a better person for it. Which actor would you choose to play you in a film of your life? Actors wise, I love my films, guys, and stuff like that, but I'd have to say, because of like it'd be some sort of adventure sort of thing, either like someone like Jason Statham, Tom Hardy, something like some Matt Damon, someone along those sort of lines, probably as an English actor, probably Tom Hardy or Jason Statham. Make what you will of that. If you had your time over again, would you have done it differently? If so, what would you have done differently? Now, like I said, I wish I would have embraced education, but would I have done things differently overall? Like, if you said to me right now, right, remember, I grew up with nothing, guys. If you used to say to me right now, go back to your childhood, be wrapped up in cotton wool, have everything you've ever wanted and more, or be born to another family, or be born into a millionaire family, go back and live a different life. Or would you do it exactly the same? Honestly, I'd do it exactly the same, right? And people are like, that's crazy. Like, you've gone through shit, you've gone through bad times, you've been homeless twice, you've been in prison 3 times, you've been involved in the criminal underworld, gangs, gangsters, serial killers, all this sort of stuff, right? But the thing is, yeah, like I say, guys, we've all been through shit. Every single one of us has gone through good times, we've gone through sad times, we've gone through bad times, right? And it's strange. I used to drag it around like a ball and chain, and then one day I broke free and realized, you know what? Everything I've gone through, all the paths I've gone through have led me to where I am today. And if you change one moment in my life, I wouldn't have met half the amazing people I've met. I wouldn't be as headstrong as I am. I wouldn't be as physically strong as I am. I wouldn't be a fighter. Do you know what I'm saying? There's so many different things that I'm grateful for what I've been through. At the time, when you're on your knees and life's bringing you to your knees and you're contemplating suicide and you've had enough and you're in a prison cell or in a police cell because you've gone on a mad one, right? You don't appreciate it. But like I say, if you change one moment in my life, I wouldn't be here on this platform in front of all you great people. So I'm very grateful for everything I've been through. Good times, bad times, and sad times. Like I say, all paths lead to where I am today. And I've actually turned out to be quite a polite, quite respectful individual, and for that I'm forever grateful, and I'm grateful for you guys for tuning in. So I wouldn't have changed things like that. But like I say, would I have, like I said, the previous question, I would have embraced education. If you could have a drink with 5 famous people, dead or alive, who would they be? Now this is Al Capone, like gangster shit straight off the bat. Al Capone, yeah. Probably like, so Al Capone, what's he called? Winston Churchill. I find him fascinating. He was a real leader. Do you know what I'm saying? We could all be standing, either we wouldn't be here or we'd be all speaking German if it wasn't, not that we'd know, but Winston Churchill. It's such an open-ended question. One of the people would be my nana as well. My nana was like my idol as growing up and everything like that. My nana, definitely. So my nana, Winston Churchill, Al Capone, Pablo Escobar. I'd love to sit down with Pablo Escobar. And someone crazy, someone like Michael Jackson or something, right? Because he was a performer, he was quiet finger. Do you know what, right? I wrote this question down for friendship and I can't even answer it myself. There's so many people that are running through my brain right now. You've got to think, it could be an historical person, it could be, I mean, there's so many people it could be. So that's a bit crazy. What advice would you give to someone who's facing prison for the first time? First bit of advice would be watch my vlog on what to pack for prison. Second thing would be yourself in prison. Don't, if anyone drops it on your toes, you've got to fight back. Even if you're not a fighter, you've got to fight back because you'll become a victim. But yeah, keep your head down. If you go to prison, be yourself. Get your head down, get your head into your jail, apply for jobs. Because obviously getting out your cell gives you a mental stimulation, keeps you out of trouble, or can keep you out of trouble. But hopefully you won't go down that route and stuff. But like I say, what advice would you give to someone of becoming a prison officer? Quite simple this, don't fucking do it. No, I'm joking. Anyone that's, the amount of prison officers that I have contact me saying, look, I'm going into the prison service. What advice can you give me to like, how are you supposed to be? You're not actors, right? You've got to be yourself on the wing. If you're going into the prison service, right, you've got to be yourself. But if you're a bastard and you're going to get sadistic, some people join the prison service and they become power mad. They swap the fucking personality for a set of keys and some epaulets, right? Other people, it's a job. They go to work. They understand the prison's there as punishment, not for punishment, right? And like I say, the punishment of prison is losing your liberty. There's a lot of good lads and girls in prison. We've got female prisoners, about 4,000 of them in the system, right? So you've got to go to work, treat them as human beings because that's what they are at the end of the day. You've got to think, if you give a prisoner a kicking and you live in the local area, example, I used to go to Forest Bank Prison and I bumped into a screw in a supermarket. The screw was all right with me, so I was all right with him, and we had a catch up and stuff like that. But the point is, if you're living in that area and you give someone a kick in and you go over the top, prisoners have got long memories and they could bump into you. So it's a job, do it by the book, right? Obviously there are corrupt officers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a very dangerous job. No amount of training will prepare you for the job. No amount of watching film. You can't mentally prepare to go on them landings. 10 weeks of training, does it prepare you for the wing? No, absolutely not. Social worker, fire safe there, you're putting fires out, stop cutting people down from stringing up, working on people, doing act books, all the usual stuff, man. Right, moving on from that. What age was your first arrest and what was the offence? First time I was arrested, guys, quite embarrassing. There's a guy called Phil Healy who's in my primary school. Secondary school. And what had happened, I was 12, I think I was 12. I think it was 12. Sure, I was 12. Right, so it was like first year of school of prison. It was like a fucking prison. So what have we done? I used to go to Royton and Crompton. The first school I ever went to was Royton and Crompton Secondary School. And we went to the spa, yeah. Everyone used to go to the spa, yeah. So I went to the spa and I gave him £1, yeah. I was 12 or 13, I can't even remember. It was 12 or 13, I can't remember. But I give him £1. They said, get me a Kinder Egg. I stayed outside the spa, yeah. He goes into the shop, right, comes out, gives me a Kinder Egg. He has a Kinder Egg. Next minute, back of our collars get felt, right. The manager drags us back in over the fucking Kinder Egg type bastard, right. Called the police turned up, right. Police drove me back to my mum's, right, where in Shaw, where I was living at the time, yeah, man. And my mum, I could see my mum's face, right? And she was like, you fucking... And I knew I was going to get a leveling, right? So I started leveling Phil in the back of the car, in the back of the police car. And I feared the police at the time, obviously. As time goes on and stuff, and I've been arrested countless times, I've got police assault on my record. I don't give a shit about the police. Don't respect them. Don't fear them. Nothing. So yeah, so that was... And it was over a stolen Kinder Egg, guys. That was it. Embarrassing. If you could meet anyone from history, who would it be? Again, probably someone like Al Capone or Winston Churchill, because Al Capone was obviously like the mafia kingpin and stuff. I'm obsessed again with criminals and gangs and gangsters, and like I say, Pablo Escobar. Obviously, he was an absolute crazy drug lord and stuff. They probably had as much power as the government and the police over in Colombia. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I say, so that'd be Winston Churchill, Pablo Escobar, Al Capone. Very different mix of people there, guys, in it, but it is what it is. Right, if you was to be, right, so say I lived in America and I was going to be put to death tomorrow in the electric chair or a gas chamber, like the injection, like put to death by the injection, what would your last meal consist of? In America, guys, for those that don't know, in certain states, right, well, I think in most states, but certain states have stopped doing it and certain states do it. You can request the last meal, right? Some people have chosen like SpaghettiOs, some people have like chose steak and pecan pie and all this sort of stuff, right? So if I was to have like a starter, a main and a dessert, knowing that I was going to get like put to death the next morning, then I'd probably have like, hold on, thinking, some chicken wings. I love chicken, right? So chicken wings. For my main, I probably have steak, right? Like fillet steak, medium, like a big fucking massive fucking one though, right? Or a massive tomahawk steak, a big massive one, right? Medium rare, making myself saliva now, like my mouth dribbling. Peppercorn sauce, fried onions, goose fat potatoes, some veg, and then on a side order of chips because I'm a greedy fat bastard. For dessert, I'd have a Manchester tart. If you don't know what a Manchester tart is, check it out on Google. It's like, I think it's raspberry jam, like custard, like designated coconut, like, you know, the sprinkled coconut thing, and then a cherry on the top, man. Manchester tart, man. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. So yeah, so that would be like my little Manchester twist on that. And then obviously bring on the fucking chair, man. Can you tell my subscribers something that they may not know about you? Might not know about me. I don't know. I don't know that I was once sectioned. I don't know. I don't know what my subscribers don't know about me. I don't know. You'll have to, do you know what? If you're interested in knowing, I'll have to ask me some questions, guys, because I haven't got a clue how to actually answer that. Something that my subscribers might not know about me. I'm pretty chilled out these days. I used to be a bit crazy, but I'm pretty chilled out these days. I like acoustic music. I love all my R&B and like a bit of dance and trance back in the day, and the old school R&B and the old school hip hop and stuff like that. But I also like acoustic music, like unsigned artists and stuff. They're actually signed, this band, but they're called Boyce Avenue. They do acoustic covers of popular songs. I like them. Like a guy called Leroy Sanchez on YouTube. Things like that, yeah. So I don't know what else. I like washing up. I find it very relaxing. I like ironing. I find it very relaxing. A bit of a clean freak, as you can probably see from all the fucking comforts and the surf over there. People keep making comments about my surf, man. My surf washing powder and my comfort. I keep my stuff clean. It's got to be done. What is your opinion on the state of knife crime in the UK? State of knife crime in the UK is absolutely off the scale. It's beyond crisis. It's absolutely mental, guys. And like I say, the thing is with the government and stuff under the Tory government, they rule over things that they, right, policing, right, as long as there's police at the end of Downing Street, right, you've got to remember most of these MPs, guys, are middle class. They live in private neighborhoods with gates and stuff and cameras, right? And like I say, so the police, they live in areas where they only read about crime in the newspaper or statistics if they're working in the Home Office, right? But like Theresa May, as long as she's got police at the end of Downing Street where the barriers and the gates are and stuff, she's happy. She don't give a shit about Joe Public and stuff like that. The Tories, guys, are for the rich, right? And at the end of the day, under the Tory government, I think we've lost over 21,000 or 27,000, I believe, police officers, right? The lowest numbers of police since 1996. Growing population, fewer police. Community police stations closing down. Frontline policing has been decimated. Armed police. The sexual offences units here in Manchester have been disbanded, guys, right? So what do you think is going to happen? It's a green light for criminals to commit crimes across the board. And you've got postcode gangs and fucking moped gangs, and you've got acid crime, and the more things they're making illegal as well. They're making more things illegal, right? Because obviously, it was zombie knives. Then they banned zombie knives, right? Because you used to be able to buy them legally. Then they banned them, right? Then it's acid, because they start using sulfuric acid for acid attacks and stuff. They ban that. So they keep making more and more things illegal, right? But then there's not enough officers to enforce it. And the state of knife crime, guys, the amount of blood that's been shed on our streets in cities and towns up and down this country, it must be scary for Joe Public. Do you know what I mean? I was never one for carrying weapons or anything like that. When I was on the door, I used to carry a knuckle duster because I was sick of breaking my fucking knuckles. But yeah, like I say, knife crime is a massive, massive problem. Too many young men dying. And like I say, but the thing is, if you're I'm a big guy, yeah, like I say, that doesn't count for anything, but a knife, a 6 stone guy, 8 stone guy with a knife is a fucking good equalizer for someone the size of me, right? You can fight them, but then they just pull a blade, bam, ribs, kidneys, do you know what I mean? They know where to stab as well, right? Do you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, guys, like femoral artery, carotid artery in your neck. People know where to stab and stuff, right? When I was a kid, I used to be a bit weird. I used to look at pressure points and like arteries and stuff like that, and where your body, like where to get, if you're going to stab someone, where to get the most, where to injure the person most. Obviously, if you can go in an artery, right, a femoral artery in your leg, or your carotid artery or something like that, your femoral, like I say, your arteries obviously squirt blood out. They squirt blood out. And I used to study all this peer pressure, power pressure points even, get me words out, and things like that. So these youngsters and stuff, a knife is a fucking good equalizer. And knives are very small, they're easy to carry, they're readily available. There's not enough police to carry out these Section 60s. So it's going to keep happening, guys. I'm sorry, but it's the state of the times. And like I say, there's too many. It's sad to see all these young men and women. And because girls get stabbed as well, guys. And there's just too much happening, man. But the government and the MPs are the ones to blame. Obviously, because then you've got these feral gangs. Yes, you shouldn't carry knives, but mental health, gangs. It's just a sign of the times, isn't it? Favourite actor, right? There's loads of them, guys. I like Tom Hanks. I think Tom Hanks is a good actor. I like Robert De Niro. I think De Niro's an amazing actor. Al Pacino, Jason Statham, because I like action films, right? Matt Damon, obviously, like you're talking Bourne Identity, Bourne Ultimatum. Like I say, Statham. I like Tom Cruise. One of my favourite films of all time is Top Gun. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Right, so hypothetically, if you could go being part of any of the big jobs or heists from history, which one would it be? Now, probably be, I don't know, probably the Brinks-Mat robbery. Lee Murray was involved in that, allegedly. He's in a prison in Morocco, I believe. But yeah, the Brinks-Mat robbery, the Hatton Garden, even going back to the Great Train robbery back in 1996, but obviously there was fuck-ups made and stuff like that. There's so many jobs, guys. The Millennium Dome, but I think that got scuppered in the end. But probably the Brinks-Mat robbery off the top of my head. That was the Securitas depot, wasn't it? So that, yeah, man, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, obviously we're talking hypothetically, guys, because I am no longer involved in crime. Listen, guys, I've waffled on for 24 minutes. This is part 2 of the Q&A. Because there wasn't enough questions, I've asked the questions I was going to ask the Frenchie to myself, which is quite sad. I've got I'm 11 subscribers short of 8,500. Are you crazy? Mental, man. But yeah, I'd love to do more Q&A. I'd love people to comment in this video and ask me more questions, more variety of questions, you know what I'm saying? But Lee Latest has asked me loads, so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for all you guys tuning in and your subscriptions and stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.